Now, back to that Kevin show with Kevin McCullough.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, my next guest on That Kevin Show this Saturday night is a longtime friend of the show. She and her husband have been dabbling in the filmmaking business kind of independently for the last several years. But before that, longtime Hollywood credentialed husband and wife. You know him as Hercules, and you know her as Mrs. Hercules, or something like that. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Sam Sorbo.
Hey, thank you so much.
How are you?
It is great to be here with you. I actually married a man with your name, so
Well, it's fun because the last time he was on my weekend show, it had not become That Kevin Show as of yet. This is a new Salem rebranding of everything. So I've got to get him back so he can be on That Kevin Show. But in the meantime, you can say you were with That Kevin.
That Kevin on That Kevin Show.
That's it.
Exactly.
Hey, you guys you're so entrepreneurial, and you're a homeschool mom, and you're advocating for really common sense stuff. I love talking to you about everything from vaccines to curriculum to politics. But tonight we're going to talk about faith. And just give us the context of how this film, Irreligious Nation, came about and what you're kind of hoping people will get from it.
Yeah, so Irreligious Nation is a short documentary that's showing on Salem Now right now. And it came about because Kevin and I were going to lead a tour of people delving into walking in the footsteps of Jesus in the Holy Land. And I had somebody who was going to come on the tour with his whole family. We were bringing our kids, so we were encouraging people to bring their teenagers.
Sure. Yeah.
And so he was going to bring his family, but he came to me and he said, we've been kind of struggling with our faith. Just as a family, we've been struggling because we've been separated by social media and all of the stuff, all the extra stuff that's happening with school, with sports, with just everything. And so they were really looking to reconnect as a family and to reconnect with their faith. And wouldn't it be interesting if we did this as a documentary? And of course, I was on board before he even got the words out of his mouth. And so that's how this evolved, if you will. And it became Irreligious Nation that asked the question, what use do we have for faith anymore? Is religion necessary? And it begins where we actually ask people, is religion necessary? And there are a lot of people in the world who say religion is not necessary.
Well, let me pause right there, because if you follow the trends that Gallup has been documenting for the last better part of 3 decades, you'll see a distinct, here in the U.S. at least, and I would say if it's bad here, it's bad everywhere. But you're seeing a continuing diminishing return of interest in faith overall. And I would say with large exceptions, this is going to be kind of replicated worldwide. What large exceptions there are may be just in places where people are persecuted for their faith, which sounds odd, but actually in China and a couple of other places, you see kind of a growth in people's personal commitment to faith. But I'm curious, before you shot the documentary, when you were just entertaining the idea, were you aware of the trends? Do you sense them and see them in your day-to-day life here in the States?
Oh, of course. I mean, and that's sort of what started me down this path, was this idea that I was raising 3 Christian children in a largely secular society where their faith was challenged 8 ways from Sunday every single day. And in fact, that's why I wrote the movie Let There Be Light, because right. I wanted to expose this idea that atheism is also a faith. And so just because they call it atheism, or they actually call it now irreligion, that's the joining of atheism and agnosticism, people with quote unquote no faith. They call it irreligion. It is a religion. You can't get out of this. You can't get out of this alive, right? You can't get out of this without having a religion. Just because you don't call it a religion because you don't believe in God, G-O-D, doesn't mean you don't have a faith or you don't have a religion. And so what we are experiencing right now, very much so, is a clash of worldview or a clash of religion. In fact, I just interviewed somebody for my podcast on the woke left being a religion. In fact, his book
Without
is called
question.
The Woke Jesus, right?
Yeah.
And we have to wake up to this. It's not that you can choose to not have a religion. You can't. You have a system of belief. That is your religion. Now, whether it's organized or not is something different, right?
And this whole lie about public education being able to basically exist in a vacuum of no worldview to be in existence is garbage. You know who knows that? My 7th grader, who comes home saying, "Dad, you'll never guess what my biology teacher is saying now." And we have a good hearty conversation about it, and he goes back and gives the biology teacher a headache because my 7th grader is already thinking through these things at a level that a lot of people are not being challenged to really at all in their young life, because we are becoming less committed to any one particular faith. But there is this kind of there has been this trend for a while of people wanting to be spiritual without being religious. And I'm sure that part of your thinking on all of this kind of touched on that on some level.
Oh, absolutely. But again, I have to bring you back to this idea that, we think that we took religion out of our government schools. We didn't. We took Christianity out and we instilled religion of government. And so now what we're doing is we're training people in our schools to worship government. And your son might be, one of the few exceptions where he's questioning,
a troublemaker. Yes,
right? He's questioning, why should I worship government? But I certainly hope you're giving him apologetics, because he needs a different belief system that will go up against that one, or he'll just get sucked into it by accident, in a sense.
That's one of the reasons we have we're committed to having family dinner every night, because we've got to have that ongoing dialogue about what our faith means and how it's expressed and where it came from. We're speaking with Sam Sorbo, who is the director of Irreligious Nation, which is a brand new documentary on Salem Now, salemnow.com. You can watch it online, or you can get the app Salem Now at any of your app stores. What were some of the things that being in Israel to shoot the documentary made more come alive for you, or made it more fun to be there to shoot it as opposed to just, sets here in the US?
Well, yeah, because ultimately, we want to bring people closer to Christianity. That's the ultimate goal, is to have them, their takeaway to be, maybe I should read my Bible a little bit more. Maybe I will open my Bible. Maybe I'll try the church down the street that I've never stepped foot in. Maybe I'll pray more, or maybe I'll go find somebody to talk to about Christianity or about faith just in general. One of the main takeaways about being in the Holy Land is the proximity of this reality, that this actually happened, that Jesus was a human being who walked the earth, that he did these things and said these things. And just being exposed to it like that really brought it alive, made it come alive for everybody who's on the tour. And experiencing it as a group also just made it that much more meaningful and more profound. And so everybody
capture all of that on live video simultaneously and watch it unfold. We're coming right back with Sam Sorbo, but if you want to watch the film Irreligious Nation, I encourage you to go over to Salem Now, salemnow.com, and check it out. It's now available and is now out. I'm Calvin McCullough. She's Sam Sorbo. We're coming back from Times Square. Stay with us.
Ready or not, we'll be right back. That Kevin.